Hey everybody, I'm here today to talk to you about 5 highway driving tips for new drivers. If you are a relatively new driver and you want to be better at driving on the highway, this is the video for you because I'm going to go over 5 tips that are absolutely important for driving on the highway safely and better. Let's get right to it. Tip number 1 is about the appropriate following distance. When you're driving at highway speeds, which are relatively fast, you don't want to be following the person in front of you too closely. So how do you measure following distance? Well, I like to measure it in a matter of seconds, with a number of seconds. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at the vehicle in front of you and pay attention to when they pass a certain object. You're going to start counting from the time that they pass the object until when you pass the object, okay? And that's your following distance. Now, the appropriate following distance is 2 to 3 seconds if the road conditions are dry and ideal. Now, let me explain this in a little bit more detail. You're going to look at the car in front of you, and let's say they are passing a certain pole. You're going to start counting from when they pass that pole, and you're going to keep counting until you pass that pole. It should be at least 2 to 3 seconds within that time frame in order for you to have a 2 to 3 second following distance, okay? Don't forget, more is okay as well, but no shorter than 2 to 3 seconds. That is tip number 1, appropriate following distance for dry road conditions. Wet road conditions mean that you have to add some time to that, okay? Tip number 2 is to look ahead. One of the worst things that you can do is just stare at the car in front of you. Because what happens is, the moment that they put on their brakes and you see their brake lights, you're going to have to press your brakes right away. And if they brake hard, you're going to have to brake even harder because there's a little small amount of time between when they brake and when you brake. So you're always going to have to brake harder than them in order to stop safely in advance and make sure that you don't get into an accident, okay? But one of the best things that you can do is look ahead. Now, if you're looking ahead further down the road past the car in front of you, you're still going to see the car in front of you in your peripheral vision. You're still going to notice their brake lights, their signal lights, and so forth, but you're going to be able to read the road conditions ahead and read what the cars are doing ahead of the car in front of you, okay? Also, with that being said, looking ahead will allow you to stay centered in the lane much easier, okay? So it'll allow you to stay centered in the lane, and your lane changes, you'll notice, will be much smoother if you look ahead as opposed to only 30, 40 feet in front of you, 50 feet in front of you, and that, okay? All right, tip number 3, match your speed to the speed of the highway when you're merging onto the highway. So I cannot tell you the number of times that I have gone on the highway and I've been driving and the speed limit over here where I live is 100 kilometers an hour, but you see people merging at 50 or 60 kilometers an hour. That's not right, because everyone on the highway should be driving 100 kilometers an hour, give or take. So if you're only driving at 50 or 60 kilometers an hour, you are obstructing traffic. You are obstructing the flow of traffic. So with that being said, if the speed limit is 60 miles an hour where you live, try and get to 60 miles an hour by the time that you merge onto the highway. It'll make it a lot easier to merge onto the highway, and you will hopefully not obstruct any traffic. If the speed limit is 100 kilometers an hour, like where I live, try and get to that speed. So the point is, get to the speed of the highway. By the time that you merge onto the highway, it'll make it easier for you and for everybody else, and you'll probably get honked at much less. All right. Tip number 4, learn to read highway signs. The first few times that I drove on the highway, I did not know how to read any highway signs. And it was a problem because I was driving on the highway and I could read the signs physically. I mean, I could literally read the words on them, but I didn't know what they were referring to. I didn't know how the exit system worked. I didn't know how the express and the collectors highways worked. So it's a really, really good idea to learn how to read highway signs. Have someone that you know very well teach you and show you how to read the highway signs before you head onto the highway. This way, when you're on the highway, you'll have an idea. And the more that you drive on the highway, the easier that it will be to learn these signs and understand what they mean. Because now when I drive on the highway, I can read the signs in a matter of seconds, and I know exactly what they're referring to, which exit is how far away, where the highway ends, and so forth. And last but not least, tip number 5, use your mirrors. Your car has 3 mirrors, 2 mirrors on the sides of the car and 1 rear view mirror in the middle of the windshield. Now, when you're about to switch lanes, or if you just want to check what's going on behind you with regards to the traffic or anyone that's coming up behind you or beside you, use your mirrors. Your mirrors will show you down the sides of your car and behind your vehicle through your rear windshield. And with that being said, if you use your mirrors, you'll have a better idea of what's happening, because it's not only about looking in front of you, it's about looking behind you. When you're about to switch lanes or when you're about to merge onto the highway, you have to use your mirrors to see what's going on behind you, because you're going into a lane. Whether you're merging or switching lanes, you're going into a lane. So you don't want to obstruct anyone behind you that's driving, okay? And you really have to know what's going on. You don't want to cause an accident. You don't want to be in an accident, so use your mirrors. They're absolutely crucial. And that's basically it. In this video, I've gone over 5 highway driving tips for new drivers. I really apologize about the sun shining on me in this horrible video condition, but what are you gonna do? This is what the conditions are right now, and I wanted to film this video. If you're a new driver or relatively new driver, or if you just want to get better at driving on the highway, even if you've been driving for 25 years and you just want to be better and safer at driving on the highway, this is the video for you. Be sure to subscribe for more car videos like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.